Now, I don't know about you, but I've been itching for some new titles to play, and in today's video, we're going to go over some of the most anticipated games of 2024. Some of these we don't have to wait too long for, others are coming at Q4 of the year. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it and subscribe. First on our list, and this is one that a lot of people are anticipating, it's developed and published by Ubisoft, and it is going to be the first ever open world Star Wars game set between the events of The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. In this game, we're going to explore distant planets across the galaxy, both iconic ones as well as new ones. Same with locations. Locations on these planets are going to be ones that we are accustomed to, as well as new point of interest that are going to be introduced into this world. It's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to do this open world, because in open world games, as you know, you have one big central map, and that's the open world. In this title, we're going to be able to go through hyperspace and go to different planets. You land on that planet and a new map will generate specifically for that planet. How big are these planets going to be? How big are these maps going to be? We don't know yet. But with all the gameplay and showcases we've seen, a lot of these worlds look pretty good and fleshed out. I'm pretty excited to see all the different little set pieces they're going to have, as well as the lore items. We're going to be playing as Kay Vess, an emerging scoundrel seeking freedom. As a wanted scoundrel, we're going to be going up against numerous factions on our quest to gain the galaxy's biggest fortune. We're going to be going against Crimson Dawn, Black Sun, the Chimera Syndicate, the Hutt Clan, and the Pike Syndicate. The interesting aspect about this title is we technically are the villain. Sure, we're going up against the Empire, but we are going to become a wanted criminal throughout the galaxy, whether that's from different factions that are trying to gain the loot that we are gaining, other groups around the galaxy, and of course the Empire. Every choice we make in this title is supposed to be able to influence our ever-changing reputation. There's going to be a reputation system. It's also going to change the way the story is and the story arc. I'm assuming there's going to be multiple endings. We will have to find out. Not only are we going to be able to battle it out through this open world, but when we are up in space, we're going to be able to engage in dogfights as we travel to the outer rim. We're going to be able to pilot our ship, the Trailblazer, the ability to ride around the map on a speeder. Is it our speeder? Is it one we stole? We do not know any of this yet. We're going to have to find out. I'm really excited about this title. Now, guys, I am a sucker for Ubisoft, and I know this game's going to have that Ubisoft touch to it. There's going to be many POIs littered around the map. There's going to be so many objectives littered around the map. I mean, it's an Ubisoft game. We have come accustomed to that when it comes to the Far Cry series, when it comes to Assassin's Creed. You jump into the world, the map is all fogged out, and there is just a ton of stuff littered about the map, and you're like, at first you're overwhelmed, but it is exciting, and I just hope Ubisoft dubs it down a little bit. Again, guys, I'm a sucker for their titles. I love the Far Cry series and Assassin's Creed, so it's not turning me off too much. And I think Ubisoft does generally a good job in the development of their games, and when the games succeed, they turn into a franchise, and they are pretty good, to say the least. So I'm excited to see this is going to be the first open world Star Wars title with the ability to expand on this franchise, whether it's the same character, your own character. It's just going to be exciting to see how this is going to pan out, and it seems like there's going to be a lot of options here and a lot of things when it comes to the gameplay and the content. They already have numerous DLCs already announced for post-launch content. We're used to Ubisoft doing this before their titles launch. They always already have a roadmap of content that is going to be coming out in the near future for their titles. So I'm excited about this. I don't know about you guys. Let me know what you think. A Star Wars IP with the Ubisoft touch in an open world game. This is an exciting one. And if they pull this off, it's going to be amazing, I think. Next on our list is a title that I'm still excited about, even though the fact that the recent and actually plentiful gameplay and footage that we've seen, because the developers have been very gracious with showing us different aspects of this title, hasn't been living up to what I thought this game would be. There still is so much in the development process that I think they could pull through with this, and with it being such a big company, what we're talking about here is Avowed. Now, you guys have probably heard about Avowed a lot, but this is developed by Obsidian Entertainment. You know, the guys who gave us Grounded, who gave us The Outer Wilds. The Outer Wilds 2 is coming up. We're going to be taken back to explore the Living Lands, a mysterious island filled with adventure and danger. As what our character is, an envoy, we're sent to investigate rumors of a spreading plague with a secret that threatens to destroy everything. Now, can we save the island? Can we save our soul? There's some indication that this plague has some connection with our character. How is that going to fit in the story? I don't know. Seems kind of interesting. Is it going to be good? Again, we don't actually know. We don't know. We honestly don't know anything. Combat looks kind of dull. Combat, like some of the stuff in the combat, not so good. Now, Avowed is going to take place in the same universe as Pillars of Eternity, in the world of Eora. The way the combat's going to be is we can use magic, melee weapons, firearms, whatever it may be. We can dual wield. You can have an axe in one hand, wand in the other, 2 wands. You can have 2 guns, a gun and a wand, a gun and a sword, 2 swords, a sword, 1 sword, 2 swords, 3 swords, 1 wand, whatever it may be. The thing is, though, what we've seen, the combat seems a little bit dull. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of impact and a lot of registration on the hits, the way the combat feels. The world, I will say, is beautiful. I do kind of like the cartoony style that they went with this. It keeps everything fresh and vibrant, but the combat does seem a little bit stale at times, and I think a lot of this is going to change, and the way the impact feels when actually doing combat is going to shift because it's Obsidian Games and we're in 2024 and I haven't seen a game come out with first-person combat with swords, wands, and be this dull. And if it is, then it's going to be a game breaker. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm not, I'm just being honest. Another interesting aspect of it, when it comes to the combat and having so much diversity in the way you can do spells, magic, firearms, swords, wands, whatever it may be, there's going to be multiple skill trees to spec in. The interesting thing is, what if you spec into a barbarian build, but you want to use the wand, because they kind of have put this emphasis on being able to switch on the fly to multiple combat systems. So I'm kind of intrigued to see the way the skill system is going to be in the skill trees, because I don't think they're going to merge us and put us in a way and direction to where we're only focused on mage, we're only focused on dark magic, we're only focused on melee, or only focused on firearms. I think they're going to be kind of blended, at least I hope, because they really showcase the idea that you can switch on the fly, and if you're spec'd into one thing and you try to switch, you're not going to be doing as much DPS. It's not going to be that fun because you won't feel like you've progressed with your character. Now, the world is going to be set up in one open world with different regions and biomes to go to, just like we see in many games like this. There's going to be different towns, and everything that you do in the story and decisions that you make, whether you encounter NPCs out in the wild or people in towns, the way you work with these relationships and finish these quests is going to directly impact the actual story itself and the way people view you. Because think about it, you are a person coming to a new land. Sure, are you here to somewhat eradicate this plague? A lot of these people don't know that. And it seems like your guy looks like some kind of skeleton looking dude. You look like a blowout. But it's going to be interesting to see the way the world works, the way the dialogue works. There's no romancing companions in here. You can have companions with you. You can have up to 3 companions with you that will fight alongside you, which is interesting. And you're going to be able to do different things and have different playstyles with these different companions. But it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this game's going to pan out. It seems good. It's developed by a great developing company, but I don't know. We're just going to have to see exactly how they're going to work with this, because it's kind of seeming a little... Now, next on our list is a title that, in my opinion, has everything going for it. I feel there virtually is no way this one will fail. Now, that seems great in theory, but there is plenty to back this one up. What we're talking about is Dune Awakening, developed none other by Funcom. You know, the developers behind the amazing Conan Exile. And this is why I believe this game has every right to succeed. The title being in the same genre with similar concepts, an open world, survival MMO, with the success of Conan, this title should be amazing. It basically is a more modern version of Conan reskinned with the Dune IP. I do not mean this in a bad way by any means. I just feel like with the success of Conan Exiles and how well they do this genre and actually have these mechanics for this specific genre, I'm glad they didn't branch off to something else. I'm glad they're sticking to the genre, choosing a new IP to take on, and I really do think this title is going to be amazing. Now, exploring the vast open desert of Arrakis with sandbox survival and the social interaction of a large, persistent multiplayer game, discovering endless dunes, ancient underground ecological labs, and deep canyons with vast cave systems, threats will come in the form of bandits, whether that be in the open world or bustling wasteland villages, with the ultimate threat being enormous sandworms that will come out of nowhere to completely destroy everything that we've built. Whether you're just venturing off and you're super far from your base, or you are currently building a base, a sandworm could come out at any moment and absolutely obliterate everything you've worked for the past hour. Now, in true survival sandbox fashion, building, gathering, and crafting will be the main aspects of gameplay loop. Crafting weapons, gear, and constructing a base to survive the onslaught of the desert. Now, keep in mind, the game will offer a dynamic weather system, where in massive sandstorms, torrential tornadoes can rain down and destroy our bases at any given time. The interesting thing about these storms is it will cause changes in the world and environment. Sand covering locations once explored to making it to where your base is completely buried and destroyed. And also the opposite. These storms will also uncover secret locations, cave systems, structures, and other interesting set pieces to now be explored. So it's kind of an exciting mechanic to see how this weather system is going to play out. Are they actually going to do it that good? Is it going to be that well thought out and that planned out? We don't know yet, but with it being an MMO, they do kind of state your base is going to be temporary. You're going to want to shift around a lot. And with these sandstorms and these systems and the big old sandworms, we're going to have a hard time actually keeping a base alive. So don't build too many chests and don't store too many good items in one area. Now, the character progression is what you would think. Leveling up, moving through a single or multiple skill trees to shape your character the way you want to play, speccing into specific skills, weapons, and styles of crafting. Whether you want to be a crafter and build exotic bases, you want to be a melee character, stealth, barbarian, high health, high survivability, you can do that. Or we can venture and spec into multiple skill trees at once. So there is a lot of diversity of play here. Now, this title seems interesting to say the least, and I'm excited to see more gameplay and really get to see the way all these mechanics will pan out. Now, I don't know. It's survival sandbox. It's Dune. It's developed by the same team behind Conan. It should be good, right? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see, but I have high hopes for this title. Now, this next one on our list is pretty interesting, and to be honest with you, I heard about it, lost interest, forgot about it, and it popped back up, and I'm kind of getting more excited to see how this game's going to play out. It's a little bit different than everything else on this list, but next up we have Wukong, or Black Myth Wukong. This title is very different, as it is an action RPG developed by Game Science. Exploring Chinese mythology, you take on the role as Wukong, the Monkey King himself. Now, this title reminds me of the movie Forbidden Kingdom. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. There is a monkey character in it. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be Wukong. I don't remember. I watched it when I was like 11 years old, but that movie was awesome and it made me want to get into Kung Fu. Did I ever get into Kung Fu? No, I didn't. I kind of regret it, but it's all right. Now, with a heavy emphasis on Kung Fu and the vast exploration of Chinese lore, Wukong, known to have incredible strength and the ability to move at high speeds, transforming into many different forms, animals, insects. Will all of this play a part into the title itself? We don't exactly know. We don't know how the combat is exactly going to be. We have a demo. We played a demo. We've seen a few things, but we don't know exactly. Now, but having a game focused on what seems as of now to be accurate to this story is amazing. It's a very interesting, unexplored story and concept for a game to take on. I feel like they're going a completely different route than most games. You know, most games are like, we're going to make a pirate game. We're going to make a modern military game. We're going to make a survival game where you're on a beach. You're in a forest. You're here. You're there. Yeah. Okay, we've seen it all. So this game branching off into like a different story and being very story focused is going to be super interesting to see. Now, how's the gameplay going to be? It's basically going to be similar to Shadow of the Colossus. We will encounter many enormous enemies of different varieties throughout the world, each accompanied by different biomes, regions with their own skills, diverse in style of combats, all as we journey to the west, meeting other characters that build the story. Now, the way the combat is with the trusty bow staff as your main weapon, mystical powers and fluid martial arts combat will feel unique with the ability to transform into insects and other creatures, not only to aid us in combat, but also in traversal. There seems to be different ways to keep the encounters fresh, being able to turn into like these creatures, turn into this big monster, do high levels of DPS, whatever it may be, go to different unexplored areas that are high up, transforming into an animal, going up there, whatever. It just seems good. Now, there's not much I can say on this title. It looks very interesting, and we're just going to have to see what it's going to be all about. I hope it turns out to be just, you know, a great single-player story action adventure, whether a standalone or the idea of future releases or DLCs. I really do feel like we need to have a really good, brand new single-player experience that kind of diversifies stuff up, and I think this might be it, but I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. I'm pretty excited about it. Now, those titles I went into heavier detail with, but there are so many games that I anticipate for 2024. It seems like a pretty good year for gaming. Last year was a little bit rough, and the beginning of this year hasn't been the best. Now, there are great titles that come out. Now, other ones I could have mentioned in this video are Arc 2. Obviously, this title needs no to little introduction. Why did they use Vin Diesel as a marketing campaign style? I do not know. I don't hate it, but it is a little weird. But I'm excited for Arc 2. That really set the pace and built the foundation when it comes to open world survival crafting games like Conan, all those games like that. Next off, we have Space Marine 2 Warhammer. This game, the game's just brutal. I love it. I love games like this, and the combat looks fluid. And just for them coming out with a new one, I'm excited for that one. We also have The Last of Us 2 Remastered. I really wish this would come to PC, but The Last of Us 2, I've always loved that series, and I'm excited to play that. Ashka as well. This is basically a Valheim reskin and a modern take on Valheim. It's pretty much the same thing. They take a lot of components from Valheim, but it does seem pretty well, and I've played a demo of it, and it is a decent open world survival crafting game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These are my most anticipated games of 2024. I really hope these titles don't disappoint. We're just going to have to wait and see. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on it. And if you're into all things gaming, that's what we do here on the channel. We just talk about games, and I like making content on games that I'm currently playing. And if you're into that, we'd love to have you. And I want to say thank you for all the love and support recently. You guys have been amazing here on the channel. But thank you for taking your time watching the video. And as always, stay happy, stay hyped, and have a beautiful day.